the challenges that I see a lot of people encounter when they're trying to figure out what their soul purpose is that they're relating to soul purpose as if it's a single destination. They see it as the reason that they are born, the purpose for which they are born, the ultimate soul purpose, like it's this peak experience or peak contribution in life. We look out at people that we admire like Mother Teresa, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, Oprah, Michael Jordan, like these great people, and we look at them and assume, oh man, they had their soul purpose figured out, as if in the beginning of it they sought out to know that they would do these things. And it's when you look at soul purpose in this way, when you see it as a single destination, although the journey of soul purpose can lead you to developing more mastery in your gifts such that you do have these very masterful, high value contributions to the world that significantly impact the world, it usually doesn't start out that way. And so when you look at it this way, it makes it in the beginning, when we're hunting for it, it makes it really hard to find. Hi, I'm Demi Mcconkie. I've been guiding leaders and entrepreneurs towards their soul purpose for over a decade now. And over the years, I have discovered several different myths and paradoxes and patterns around soul purpose that make it somewhat elusive. And in this video series on soul purpose, I want to kind of demystify your soul purpose for you just a little bit so that you can understand what it is, how to discover yours, and how to use it to navigate your life towards your greatest goals and dreams. I first created the Soul Purpose program to give leaders and entrepreneurs fuel towards their goals and their visions. It sort of had this sense that when they were in touch with why they did what they did, the passion came across. It came across to their team members. It came across to their audience, to their clients and customers, made them more attractive, and it fueled them towards the goals. It made the hard work not so hard. And so, people wanted to figure out why they did what they did. They could sense it, but just they wanted the certainty about it to really be able to capture that fuel. And so I created this program that would guide people through different exercises and processes and give them an eloquent statement about what their soul purpose was. And what I discovered through the years is that no matter how great the exercises were or how eloquent of a statement I could help somebody craft, that certainty that they were looking for within their soul purpose just always felt just beyond our grasp. And then I realized something, as I looked around and I saw the people who were, most definitely living in their soul purpose, living it to their fullest, that I admired who they did it. They weren't talking about their soul purpose. They weren't looking for their soul purpose. And they very often didn't set out to do something grandiose. A perfect example of this is Ralph Lauren Polo, the brand. When he started out, all he wanted was a fat necktie. He watched these old movies, Clark Gable, and they had these like cool looking fat neckties, and there weren't any on the market. So he found a seamstress and had her make one. That led to somebody else wanting it, and that led over time to him becoming a big fashion icon and having a big fashion business. And he says, I don't even like fashion. People who do this, people that are living in their soul purpose, what I saw that they seemed to do is they just showed up in their lives with their innate sense of curiosity. And with that, they got interested in something and they engaged with it. And it was usually something really simple and really small. Ralph Lauren, it's that fat necktie turned into shirts, polo shirts, which turned into pants, which turned into a women's shirt, it was just small steps along the way. And this is, so if soul purpose if we don't relate to it as a single destination, what is a better way to relate to it? And the best way I have found to understand soul purpose is that it's more of an internal navigating system. It guides us most directly to our heart's desires, but it's only going to guide us like the next right step. It's not going to give us a 45-step plan. It can't, because things are always changing, and it's going to give us the most direct route. And where this can be confusing for us humans is that it's not the only internal navigating system that we have going on. The other one is this guy right here. like the monkey mind, right? We are all, if you're sitting in a monkey suit, a human suit, then you have inherited this human condition. And part of what the human condition is it's fear. There's a part in all of our brains, I call it monkey mind, that looks out in the world and senses threat. And its primary function is our survival. And so from the time you're born, you are writing this behavioral code that we write it. We don't write it with logic and words. We write it with experience and emotion. If we experience something and we feel good about it, then we write this behavioral code to behave in more ways that gets us that experience that causes us to feel good. If it's a negative feeling, then we want to behave in ways that has us experience less of that. And just like walking, once we learn that through experience, it slips deep into our subconscious mind. And neuroscience tell us that our subconscious mind makes up 95% of our noggin. And this mind, that 95% of our subconscious mind is wired to ensure that tomorrow is the same as today. Because we survived. Yesterday we survived, so let's just do the same thing today. And so when we want to when we want to understand what our soul purpose is and make a significant contribution to the world and live our soul purpose to the fullest, it doesn't work to kind of look to often doesn't work. I mean, sometimes having a clear vision of what you want, that's necessary. But having mastery, if we expect to have that soul purpose mastery before we set and embark upon our journey, we'll never begin that journey. We'll never show up and just respond to what's in our world, those simple things that are in our world, with that curiosity and engagement that can lead us into the mastery, that can give us the experience of, wow, this is really what I was born to do. So it's this other internal navigating system. The way that this one works is that this one will give you a 45-step plan. And that feels really good to our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind wants to believe that we have some degree of control over the future. And if we have that 45-step plan on how to get there, then it feels really good to us. We feel relieved. We feel like we can have some certainty in the direction that we're going, that we're not going to experience failure, that we're not going to become bankrupt and live on the streets, right? And our soul purpose doesn't give us that 45-step plan. And so it only gives us the next right step. And so when it comes to navigating our self forward in our life, this one very often gets our attention. And when you don't understand the difference between how these two internal navigating systems show up in your life, the tendency is going to be to listen to this one. And the way that often looks like is then we create a life going for what we think we can get, what this one thinks we can get, what other people want us to have. We go to school, we get the job, we get the spouse, we get the kids, we get the house, we get the cars, we get the career, and then we have all of these responsibilities. And it can be really scary to think about what our heart's desires are. Our soul purpose is not designed to navigate us forward towards what we think we can get. That's this one's job. Our soul purpose is designed to help us navigate towards what it is we really want. And to understand your soul purpose is to get in touch with your heart's desires, what it is you really want, not what you think you can get. And to understand your heart's desires is also to acknowledge what interferes with those heart's desires, or us being able to acknowledge them. And that's this one right here. That 95% of our subconscious wiring that wants to make sure that tomorrow is the same as today, that's going to create some interference with us seeing what it is we really want. So if you want to understand what your soul purpose is and begin to explore it, first and foremost, understand that it's a lifelong journey, that it's not a single destination. It's not an SOLE purpose. It's an SOUL purpose. And it is intended to navigate you towards your heart's desires, to what it is you most want. I often tell my clients it's actually easier to go for what it is you really want rather than what you think you can get, because we have innate wisdom. We have the same intelligence that created the entire universe exists within us too. And that's what our soul purpose uses to help us navigate the next right step towards our heart's desires. If we can surrender what this monkey thinks it needs, which is security and comfort and feeling important and being included and fitting in, all of these things, that the 45-step plan that this monkey gives us is going to be one that ensures that all of those needs are met. And it has a tendency of taking us in a bit of a roundabout journey to get where we think we want to be based on getting all of this monkey's needs met. And so if we can become willing to surrender some of those needs, it's sort of that saying, you have to be willing to let go of everything you think you need, this one thinks it needs, in order to get what it is you really want and more. And when you become willing to do that, and you'll settle down just a little bit and listen to that internal guidance of just be willing to only know what the next right step is, then this soul purpose journey is to simply show up in your life and look around, just like you did when you were a kid. You know, your soul purpose navigating system worked brilliantly as a kid. You didn't have much interference, and you talk to a kid and they'll tell you what they want. They light up if you ask them, what do you want? You still have that same innate potential within you to get in touch with your heart's desires in that same way. So I'll leave you with these parting questions. What is it that you really want? If time and money was of no consequence and you knew you couldn't fail, what is it that you would do? And think on that. Don't answer right away. Let that question sort of be in the back of your mind when you take a shower, when you go for a walk, when you have the moments when your thinking will settle, when this one can just settle down a little bit and you can get in touch with what your heart's desires are. I'd love to hear from you. Put them in the comments below. And if you want any more support with this journey, don't hesitate to reach out. Namaste.